Crypto is on the rise, and this rally feels like more than just a short-term spike. I truly believe we're at the start of something much bigger, something that could shape the coming weeks and months. Sure, there will be pullbacks along the way, prime opportunities to accumulate, by the way, but the momentum we're seeing now seems to confirm that a larger move is unfolding across the entire market. Now, for all the XRP holders out there wondering when it's finally going to break out to even higher levels, don't worry, I've got you covered. In this video, I'm going to pinpoint the exact moment I believe XRP will hit new all-time highs. And yes, we're also diving into some bold price predictions. Think $30, 0 cents, $50, 0 cents, and beyond. I'll break it all down and share my thoughts on whether those numbers are truly within reach. So grab a coffee, relax, and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, I hope by the end of this video, you'll decide to join our growing community. Let's dive in and explore what's next for crypto and especially XRP. So intro XRP, number one, we're inching closer to that incredible $3 trillion 0 cents market cap milestone. Exciting times ahead. The fear and greed index back to neutral, but on the shorter time frames, we're tipping into greedy territory. That's a bit of a red flag, hinting at a potential short-term pullback looming on the horizon. Bitcoin's current price, recorded earlier, is hovering around $94,000, 0 cents. And XRP sits at $2.26. But here's the real story. Let's talk about Ethereum. So Ethereum, while everyone's been focused elsewhere, Ethereum has been quietly making moves. At $1,800, 0 cents, it's outperforming both Bitcoin and XRP, not just over the last 7 days, but also in the past 24 hours. Ethereum's momentum is building and it's starting to shine among the big players. Even within the altcoin market, it's standing out, which is a promising sign as we work toward phase 2 of alt season. Are we there yet? Not quite. Phase 2 won't be confirmed until the buzz about Ethereum flipping Bitcoin dominates the conversation and the market gets overwhelmingly bullish on ETH again. All right, here's the thing. I really feel like we're getting close to that tipping point now. And with that said, let's dive into something everyone's buzzing about, price predictions. I came across a major one recently, and trust me, we're going to loop back to it by the end of this video. But first, let me break down some of my thoughts. We've all heard those wild predictions, right? Take Bitcoin, for example. 1 minute, it's $150,000, 0 cents to $250, 0 cents. Then suddenly it's $300, 0 cents. Wait, no, make that $400, 0 cents. This happens every single cycle, and it's important to keep your eyes open. Look, I could hop on here every day and tell you XRP is going to hit $100, 0 cents in the next 10 days, or better yet, $10, 0 cents next month. It's dramatic, it's exciting, but let's be real. That's not what I'm about. The reason I'm not jumping on board with this is simple. I don't believe in it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you something I don't truly see happening. There are plenty of YouTube creators out there, and while I won't name names out of respect, many are pushing clickbait content just for views and quick cash. This is one of those price predictions that, while not completely ridiculous, feels unlikely to happen this cycle. We've seen charts like these floating around year after year. Remember the 20, 20, 2021 hype? Back then, the big call was $20, 0 cents to $30, 0 cents XRP, supposedly following the same patterns as 2017, 2018. It was all about XRP will do this, XRP will do that. And guess what? Nothing happened. Now, some might argue, oh, it's because of the SEC lawsuit. Honestly, XRP hitting those sky-high prices doesn't really add up right now, especially considering how early we are in the adoption phase. But here's an interesting take from Sistine Research. They predict XRP could reach $33, 0 cents to $50, 0 cents. It might seem conservative given the patterns we're seeing, which are similar to 2017, but on a much larger scale. If you're looking at it as a classic cup and handle formation, the targets could soar to $77, 0 cents, or even $100, 0 cents. Now, some other price predictions out there are just plain wild. I mean, $370,000, 0 cents for Bitcoin. That's just ridiculous. Let's be real. For this cycle, predictions like XLM at $7, 0 cents, HBAR at $4, 0 cents, or Litecoin at $500, 0 cents aren't entirely out of the question, but the majority of these claims feel way too far-fetched. Still, this XRP chart aiming for $33, 0 cents to $50, 0 cents might just be worth keeping an eye on. There's absolutely no solid foundation behind this TA. Think about it. Someone predicting XRP hitting $20, 0 cents to $30. 0 cents is basing it all on Elliott wave theory. Could it happen this cycle? Sure, it's possible, but when I see charts like this, it raises some red flags. It's starting to feel like we're inching closer to the cycle's peak. Are we there yet? No, not quite. I still believe we've got a bit more runway. As I mentioned in yesterday's video, we're likely looking at another 3 to 6 months. I'm sticking to that timeline for now. Later in this video, I'll revisit this chart and break it down further. But before we dive back in, there are a few important points I want to cover first. Yesterday, I posted about shifting focus from gold to crypto, and it's a move I stand by. We're also likely to see a rotation out of stocks soon, although stocks may see a stronger bounce initially. Interestingly, Goldman Sachs recently predicted that gold could hit $3,700 0 cents by year end, possibly reaching as high as $3.95. This came right as gold peaked. Here's what gold looks like now on the 12-hour and one-day charts. From my perspective, gold has likely reached its top. I mentioned this yesterday too. What we're seeing with gold feels very similar to August, where we hit a high, then entered a choppy, slow sell-off phase. I don't expect a dramatic plunge, but more of a sideways grind over the next few months. Meanwhile, crypto is waking up. Big moves could be on the horizon, and I believe the spotlight is shifting. This weekly candle wick on gold is looking pretty bearish, hinting at a deeper move to the downside. Right now, the key focus is finding some solid support around $3,022. 0 cents feels like a safe zone to watch for a bit of sideways action. We might see a sharp dip below that level before the market steadies and starts chopping sideways, setting the stage for a broader move. Patience is key here. Could take months for that big expansion, much like we saw back in August 2020 through 2021 and 2022, which I mentioned yesterday. Oh, and speaking of markets, here's something interesting. A recent segment on Bloomberg TV highlighted how Bitcoin is starting to decouple from tech stocks and trade more like gold. This shift could echo across global markets. Definitely worth a watch. Check it out.
Breaking away from tech stocks at a pretty good time, trading more like gold just in time for gold to rocket higher. You can see that physical Bitcoin gold is up about 9% over the past month in April alone. That has dragged Bitcoin higher, especially in the last couple days. The crypto is up about 6% or so. And take a look at what has happened to tech stocks. In blue, you have the NASDAQ 100 actually lower by 6.5% or so. So Bitcoin may be taking on some safe haven characteristics, at least when it comes to its relationship with gold, Tim.
Physical Bitcoin is what Katie called it. Let's discuss this decoupling between Bitcoin and tech equities. Bloomberg crypto team leader Michael Regan joins us here on.
They're calling it the decoupling, a term that's stirring up plenty of buzz. Back in 2020, we caught a glimpse of this happening, but most people thought it was a one-off. Fast forward to today, the stakes feel even higher. What's grabbing my attention this time is Bitcoin, not just Bitcoin performing well, but Bitcoin outshining both gold and stocks. If that happens, it's going to shine a massive spotlight right on Bitcoin. Now you might be wondering, wait, Nick, wasn't this supposed to be about XRP? Don't worry, we'll get there. But here's the thing, before XRP can steal the show, Bitcoin usually takes the lead with a huge run up. Right now, the key level to watch is somewhere between $93.20 K and $95.60 K. Breaking past that zone, especially those highs from early March, would be a game changer. A breakout above $95.00 K would signal a major expansion for Bitcoin. And honestly, we're close. The charts are already showing cleared price action, hinting at a push toward fresh highs. If we crack that $95.00 K mark, it could set the stage for Bitcoin to reach a whole new level. Bitcoin has had an incredible run over the past 48 hours, and it's been thrilling to watch the action unfold. Momentum is strong, and we're hoping to see more of this trend continue. But let's shift gears for a moment, because while Bitcoin grabs the spotlight, my attention is turning toward Ethereum. This is where things get interesting for altcoins. And speaking of altcoins, let's talk about XRP. It's been on fire today, up nearly 8% and flirting with the $2.30 mark. Just recently, we tapped that level. And over the past 7 days, XRP has climbed close to 10%. It's still bouncing off the lows, but the question is, when will it break even higher? We're still waiting for XRP to hit a higher high. The big question is, when will it finally break through those previous highs and soar to a new yearly peak? Right now, the yearly high sits just shy of $3.40. Some charts show $3.29 or $3.30, but looking at the wick, it's closer to $3.40. Everyone's wondering, when's the breakout coming? To get a clue, let's look at Ethereum. Why? Because Ethereum often serves as a key indicator of altcoin strength. When Ethereum starts breaking out, it usually signals a major rally for altcoins. But wait, you might ask, Nick, how does that make sense? Back in November, Ethereum barely moved. Ethereum didn't manage to break past its March 2024 highs, and yes, you're right about that. But let's not overlook the fact that it still rebounded strongly from its lows, climbing back to challenge those levels. While it couldn't push through, Ethereum still held its ground and performed quite well. After that, though, the story shifted. Ethereum took a tumble as its dominance in the market was overshadowed by the meteoric rise of XRP, which stole the spotlight with its massive surge in value. Now, fast forward to today, and Ethereum has just hit a critical demand and supply zone, a level with major support stretching all the way back to 2023. This is big. It's a bullish signal and could mark a bottom for. We're already seeing an impulsive move forming, but the next big test is breaking through that first key resistance level just ahead. Right around the 2052 level, Ethereum is reclaiming highs from mid-March, as well as levels we haven't seen since November 2023, the starting point of that explosive rally back to $4,000, 0 cents, or to be exact, around $4.10. Let's just round it up. The spotlight for Ethereum now is breaking above these key highs. Doing so could confirm a major shift back toward previous peaks from March 2024 and even recent levels in November and December. As Ethereum breaks out, I anticipate it will gain serious momentum on the dominant side. But here's the kicker. It's not just about the USD chart. Ethereum's performance against Bitcoin is also coming into play in a big way. This is where the tide begins to shift. Bitcoin's dominance gives way to Ethereum, signaling the early sparks of alt season. The chart has stayed relentlessly bearish since December 2021, nearly 4 years of downward momentum. But now we've hit a critical macro bottoming zone, one that dates back to 2019 and January 2020. This is the same zone where the chart previously bottomed out before igniting a massive impulsive rally in 2020 through 2021. That surge fueled one of the most explosive altcoin booms in market history, rivaling even the legendary bull runs of 2016 and 2017. Could we be standing on the brink of another game-changing move? Time will tell. This could be the beginning of something big breaking out against Bitcoin and kicking off alt season in full swing. We're at that pivotal moment where Bitcoin dominance starts to drop, while the entire market, including Bitcoin itself, pushes higher. This momentum could drive XRP and other altcoins to reach thrilling new all-time highs. We're also approaching the exciting phase of price discovery where things really heat up. Keep an eye on the XRP Bitcoin pair and the XRP dominance chart, both primed in a tight flag formation. They're like a spring waiting to release, and when they do, it'll send a clear signal that XRP's next big move is here. Right now, the key focus for XRP is breaking past those March highs, sitting at roughly $2.57 to $2.58. Once that barrier is cleared, the path ahead could get very interesting. I firmly believe another major move is brewing for XRP, and it could shake up the entire crypto market. Behind the scenes, momentum is building, and this is something everyone should keep an eye on. The overall sentiment around crypto remains incredibly bullish, and while we might see minor pullbacks here and there, they'll barely register on the charts. Looking at XRP's chart right now reminds me of past market activity. Those small moves back then seemed huge to traders in the moment, causing panic. But from today's perspective, they're insignificant blips, completely overshadowed by the massive rally that pushed XRP past $3.00. That's the kind of explosive growth I'm anticipating again, and it's got me excited for what's to come. If Bitcoin sees a pullback, it likely come from these range highs, aiming to fill a fair value gap somewhere between 88K and 92.6K. Sure, that's a wide range, but that's what the daily chart is showing us for now. On smaller timeframes, like the 12-hour or even the 4-hour, the gaps look a bit different, offering a more nuanced view. Don't rule out a mid-level retest, though. It's possible Bitcoin chops around these highs for a bit. With Bitcoin dominance running so high, this could spell trouble for altcoins in the short term. But don't worry, it's unlikely to last long. Looking at the bigger picture, we'll likely see a solid pump off these levels, much like what happened back in November after the first big sell-off. History might just be getting ready to rhyme, setting Bitcoin up for another impressive move after a brief pause. Bitcoin's taking a breather, pulling back to test support, but don't blink because the next big move could be explosive. We're talking a massive surge, potentially pushing Bitcoin well past 100K. Buckle up because this next impulse wave may dwarf everything we've seen so far. Now, if Bitcoin dominance starts to slip during that rally, get ready for altcoins to steal the spotlight. The entire market could ignite, creating opportunities everywhere. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more free content. Thanks for watching, and here's to the next big move.